Flory models, here we are Friday the 4th of March 2016, the end of another very busy week trying to sort everything out. And we have a airliner in one lump. Yes, we still got to do the glass work, which is one thing, to be honest, I did forget about. I was so worried about getting perfect seams everywhere. And I'm still going around do tiny little bits of gap filling again. It's that thing, it's a time, we're perfect everywhere, but we've put this bottom section in we were speaking about, and I've got a little bit of touch-up work to do down here. The grey stuff is obviously Stynel res. Now, we absolutely love this stuff. The thing is I love about it is you spray this down as thick as you like. As soon as it's dry, you can sand it, and it's that nice dust sand comes off. You can blend, no problem at all with it. And whilst we're on the subject, I do have to thank Barwell Bodyworks. They sent me the other colours. So now, not only do I have the black and white, which I've had, we now have the different colours of it. So we've actually got this one down here, which is this nice sort of sandy colour and all the rest of it. We've got a green, which is quite handy for all you armour guys, okay. We've got a sort of surface primer. This is actually very close to our light rust colour for pigments, okay. So it's dead handy for doing all your primer stuff. And the black, which is something I've been after for a while. Don't forget, go and check them out. They got the cheapest prices for this stuff available in the UK, and they do ship everywhere else as well. So definitely well worth it. They do deals as well. If you're buying like 3 of the bigger ones and things like that, they can sort you out. As well as I've been sent this stuff. Now, before you turn around and you say, oh God, Stynel res is crap and we're going to move on to the next one, fear not. I still like Stynel res, but this is actually the surface primer that you get in the can when you buy like cans of Tamiya, which I'm a great fan of their surface primers because they're beautiful. It's just that I don't use them because they're very expensive, and also you get a lot of wastage. It's an aerosol, it's gone airborne, and it can give you some trouble. But it's been pointed out to me by a couple of the guys in the forum who said about doing this. So what I've done is I've taken a brush tip, because it's the same cap, from an old thinners or one of my old extra thin bottles, and I'm using it as an applicator for doing this type of work. So down here, to be honest, you might be able to see we had a few little dents from the the actual seams and everything else. Chances are I could have actually just turned it into a panel and put a new panel line in, but to be honest, we want this one to be perfect and gorgeous and all the rest of it. So I've used this as a micro filler just to fill these in. So we're going to let that dry, sand that, and just see what happens to it and see exactly how well that does. But this stuff is lovely stuff. I've used it for years and years and years, but I walked away from it because it is really expensive and it's very messy. It will block up your filter. So if you were spraying it back here and you're coming in here, it will fill it instantly. Within a couple of jobs of doing it by airbrushing it, your filter's buggered, and then you end up having to do a new one and all the rest of it. And in the old days, quite expensive. Now we've got cheaper alternatives. But from that point of view, that's why I moved away from it. But Steve contacted me and said, I've got one. And I was like, oh, brilliant. He said, I've got you one too. So he sent me this one down to have a play with. Then a few of you have mentioned about the brush idea, which I've taken on board and we're using, and it's working an absolute treat. But today has all been about sort of final work for this, getting it all ready. We've done the engines, so we've been cutting them out, putting these together and everything else, which when they're in the right dimensions fit absolutely beautiful. So they are very nice. As I said, it's going to be the Thompson's colours purely so we can do that lovely blue. They have that blue sort of swoosh thing going over it, two-tone blue. So that's the version we've gone for. We're not stretching it either. We're going to keep it as an 800 to the 900. No, a lot of you have asked me about stretching it. I can't get hold of the part. Well, I could, but it'll take a week to get here, and I can't really hang around for a week for it to turn up. So this is going to be as is. I'm going to keep it in the 800 series, and we're going to do it in the Thompson markings, which should be quite a lot of fun because we've all seen those ones of airliner companies when they're spraying their own. I might try and do a time lapse on this as well to show it right the way through. Either that or just film it and then I'll speed it up. And it should be a lot of fun to actually put it in those markings because we're going to do it roughly the same way as they do the real thing and everything else. I've got to keep it this way up because it's still wet. Over here, you might see an old favourite. So down here, we've actually got the Revel. This is the Focke-Wulf 190 F8. We have reviewed it. But what you haven't seen is everything that's on top of it and around it. Now, the reason for doing this was, it's been mentioned a lot, and I think it was just about to get out of the bag, so to speak. This is going to be our summer's big build. Now for this, I've redone the review of it so it's all in one, and I'm going to replace the old review with a new one. So technically the first sort of 14 minutes are, if you've seen it before, you can just skip it. Then I review in full these big sin sets, okay? Now the reason they call them that is because you get everything in there. So this one over here, we've got a replacement engine, a gorgeous, highly detailed resin engine. Obviously ours, you know, it's going to be opened up and peeled open so we can see all of this. So we've got a replacement full engine for it. We've got the replacement props and everything for it. We've got the replacement wheels. We've got the actual brass undercarriage for it. And we've obviously got the full metal, all the bits and pieces that are going to go around for that one. On top of that as well, on the second set, we've got the cockpit set, full detailed everything. We've then got the actual flap metal set for it, and we've got the gun deck and all the other goodies that are going to go with it. We've also got the, this is the HGW mask set, and for the harnesses and the various bits and pieces in there as well. And although I've put it in one of the boxes, you can't see it, we've got the colour photo etch set for the cockpit. So yes, this is going to be a monster build. On top of that, I intend to re-rivet it, so we're going to be looking at riveting and various things like that as well. Plus it's going to be about mottling and fading German colours, late war colours, things like that. So it should be a lot of fun. So it's going to be a huge big project, big undertaking. We're going to have the engine done as a sort of standalone piece. We're going to have obviously the cockpit, then we can install it all into this one and work our way through. So we're going to be covering a lot of topics as we make our way through this one. So it's going to be all about resin and aftermarket and cockpit detailing, weathering and things like that. We can show about doing the harnesses, nice close up and detail, and all these different things in there. Then obviously we're going to cover re-riveting with this thing, and we can use a mixture of, like, you know, obviously pinwheels, hand, and we can use other people's rivets, which is something that came up yesterday. Great segue. We were talking about doing like the question and answer, the various bits and pieces, and you've all jumped to my answers. So actually it is Archer. They're the ones I was thinking of. Now, to be honest, I went on a hunt for my Archer ones and I can't find them anywhere, so I don't know what I've done with them. So today I have reordered 2 sheets of the Archer fine rivets. So these are raised rivets. They're like decals, you put them down. Really nice, used them in the past. They are great, but you guys have really jumped on board and helped me out with this one. And Wayne's posted up that actually HGW, the guys who make these stuff, actually do a set as well, which I wasn't aware of. So it's something perhaps I'll get some in and we'll do a little bit of an on-test. And a couple of other options as well. And then down on there as well, Osran, he's put up some great pictures of his, what's that, a UH60? MH60. He completely re-riveted it all with the raised rivets as well, as you can imagine down the back end of it. So thank you very much, guys, for helping me out on that one. Again, if you know I'm struggling, which let's face it, I do all the time, feel free to jump in. Just post up in there saying, Phil, this is what you're thinking of, or some of you done as well, other ideas as well. So this is what it's all about. Keep the ideas and everything's coming. One thing that's been mentioned to me, I've had 2 people say, because we were on about it the other day, about bringing back the on test. Okay. Now, this has been brought up because obviously you're all talking about Mr. Paint, the Czech paint people and things like that. You want me to bring back on test. Thing is, give me ideas. This is the trouble. So if you know of a couple of particular brands that roughly do the same thing, then let me know. I'll get them in and then we can do a proper on test with them. So literally it'll just be like we used to do in the old days. We'll get them in, we'll get an identical part, and then we'll use both of them on and see which one works best. And it's completely unbiased, and we'll have a winner and a loser, and it's as simple as that. But I used to enjoy doing them. They take a little bit of working out. It's like a day's work to do them, but I think they're quite important, and I'd like to bring them back with you guys as well. So really, that is about it. A very busy week. Next week, I intend to get on right with the Halifax, but to be honest, I've got so carried away doing this and making sure it's all perfect that I forgot about it. To getting on with the Halifax, because I wanted to get this thing done as it is right now in primer and ready for paint and everything else. As you might have gathered as well, I do have to say the Shackletons haven't turned up. They're going to be here on Monday, so they'll be up with me next week and everything else. But as soon as they're here, I'll get the review done and I'll get them up to you, because I know a lot of you are waiting to see what the Revel Shackleton and how it stacks up against the Airfix one and things like that. So I definitely intend to get that one going, and I'd love to do a build on it at some point as well. It looks a fantastic aircraft. We've got some other kits coming in as well, so we're going to have loads of reviews up for you next week and everything as we make our way through. So, as it's Friday, it's over to you guys for your work in the gallery. Some stunning completions this week. This doesn't include all the ones from the group build and SIGs, because obviously we keep them separate. So if you're wondering why yours isn't up, it's because it's in a group build or a SIG, and we'll do those as a standalone, okay? But we've had some fantastic work up this week, especially on a couple of tornadoes, some very smart looking tornadoes up this week. So I'm going to leave you now with some of your great work from the gallery. So until Monday, everybody, happy modelling. Take care.